Hey, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a book haul. So I have bought quite a few books since January started. Some of these I have already read, like I read them this month, but I just wanted to do a little haul of everything I've bought since January. I was going to do just like one haul in January, and then, you know, I've kept buying books, and so I decided I would finally put them all into one video and show you what I have bought so far in 2022. Alright, I'm going to start off with, I think it's technically historical fiction. I'm going to try to do these by genre, but that's kind of difficult because I'm dumb. But the first one is Last Night, and these don't go in the order that I bought them. This is just the order in the pile that I have made. It's Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. First off, this cover is probably the most gorgeous thing I have ever seen. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. I think it is so pretty. But basically, this follows a young Asian American girl during kind of like the Red Scare era in San Francisco, and she is gay and discovers the Telegraph Club, which is kind of like a women's club, and she meets a friend who has been there, and they start going together, and it's kind of just like her coming to terms with her sexuality, while also showing kind of like what's going on with the whole Red Scare and communism in America and China during this time period, and like how that affects her as a US citizen. I really enjoyed this book. It wasn't my favorite. I'm hauling it, but I've already read this book. I read it this month, but I will talk about why it wasn't my favorite and like my thoughts on it on my wrap up more. But yeah, so this is one of the first ones I picked up, and I have indeed already read it. Next, I'm going to show you some of the fantasy books I've picked up. I've been in such a romance mood. Like half of this pile is going to be romance books. But I really want to get back to fantasy because that's what started it all, and I do love fantasy, but after reading romance for a while, your brain kind of stops being able to comprehend fantasy. So I'm working on it. First, I have Furyborn by Claire Legrand. This is a series, and it is fantasy. So this follows two women that are on two different timelines. So one has to go through a series of trials to find out if she is like the queen that was like prophesied, and the other is a bounty hunter whose mother goes missing, and she needs to find her, and in doing that their paths kind of or like their fates cross, even though they're like in two different time periods. I don't really know much else about this book other than it's fantasy, and I've seen people say really good things about it. I saw it on Book Talk from a couple people a while ago, and I really was interested in it, so I picked this up. I have not read it yet, but I do want to get to this series soon because I eyeballed it for so long in Barnes & Noble that finally I was like, okay, Riley, you've looked at this 10 times, time to buy it. So Furyborn by Claire Legrand. The next two I bought on the same day, and they're by the same author but not in the same series, and the author is Lonnie Taylor. So the first one I got was Strange the Dreamer, which I have eyeballed for a while. I know people love this book, and it is beautiful, so I had to pick it up. So we have Laszlo Strange, who wants to find this missing city, and he knows he's not brave enough to do it, but someone else comes along who is. So they are going to team up and try to find the lost city of Weep. And so lots of questions need to be answered. He's also having dreams of a blue-skinned goddess, and he's like, how is she in my dreams? I don't really know much else about this, but it does seem really interesting, and I know people love it, so I picked up Strange the Dreamer as well. This one is the second in a series. So this is Days of Blood and Starlight, also by Lonnie Taylor. It's the second to the daughter of Smoke and Bone. I don't know much about these. I think that they're like angels and demons. Yeah, no idea anything else, so I can't really give you a summary. The reason I bought the second book was because I've been wanting to read the first one, but I don't want to start it without being able to go straight into the next one, so I picked this up. I will probably read these next month, and then if I like the first two, obviously I'll probably immediately go buy the third one and finish it off. But I also did not want to buy these for a long time because I hate the original covers for them, but these new covers are so beautiful. So this is a series I do want to get into soon. I do have one book in the fantasy category that I hauled but it is at the very top shelf all the way up there. Like I have to literally like climb up to get it, and that was just too much effort. And that is Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I've already read it. Basically it's the second book in the Illuminae series that is following this fleet of ships who have escaped a mining attack, and they're in outer space and all that kind of stuff. And this is the second book. It has different characters, but they kind of converge with the new characters in what is going to be the last book that I need to read. So yeah, that I do not have on hand at the moment. Alright, next category, that's all the fantasy I have, is kind of like thriller horror. One's more horror and one is more thriller. And for the thriller one I picked up, it is The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. I had also been eyeing this one for a while in Barnes & Noble, but I didn't want the hardcover, and then I saw it on new to paperback, the little table, and I was like, okay, I have to buy this. Basically this follows Ellen Warner, who is a detective, or she was a detective, but things have happened, who goes to this newly renovated hotel that used to be a sanatorium for her brother's engagement party, and her brother's fiance, who she's known since they were children, goes missing, and so she begins to investigate, and there's something going on very weird within the sanatorium or the new hotel. This was really cool. I liked it. Very creepy, and I think that it is a series, and there's going to be more from Detective Warner in a few more books, but I have already read this book. I did enjoy it. Yeah. So I picked up The Sanatorium. I've already read it. You will see my thoughts in the February wrap-up that I do. The next one was on a whim when I was in Barnes & Noble because I saw multiple TikToks about it, and it is Tinder is the Flesh. This is horror. I'm gonna not be able to say this name because she's from Argentina, but Agustina Bazterrica? I'm not sure. That was really bad. I'm so sorry. Basically, this follows a society in which animals are infected by this disease that will kill you if you eat them. So we can no longer eat meat. And so they start breeding humans like cattle and sending them to butchers and eating them. It is probably the most disturbing thing ever. I will talk more about it on my wrap-up and my thoughts and like that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's just following this man who works for one of these places that like raises and butchers humans, and kind of his moral thoughts on it and that kind of thing. But I don't want to say too much else because I am going to do a little review during my wrap-up of this book. And all of the rest of the books that I have are romance, so let's just get into it. This one is a romance that I would never probably have picked up, and I don't really know why I did, but I did. And it is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. This is a Persephone and Hades retelling. That's all I know, and I've seen people talk about it, and I think I'm not sure that I'm gonna like this, but I'm gonna give it a try just because I saw it and I was like, you know what, just do it. Everyone has read it, so just read it. I don't know that this is really my type, but we're gonna see, and I'm gonna try it out. And that's all I have to say about A Touch of Darkness. Next, I actually got this yesterday, or 2 days ago, is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This is on a dual timeline where they were in love in high school and something happens and they had a falling out, and so they reconnect in the present. So it shows them falling in love and their like story in the then, and then in the now it's them trying to like navigate this new reconnection and like, is their love still a thing? I don't really know much else, but I've seen so many people say this is their favorite book, and every time I'm in Barnes & Noble it's never there, and it was there, so I grabbed it. I'm probably gonna read this pretty soon, probably before February is over, and so when I do that you'll see my thoughts of it on my February wrap-up. And the rest of these that I'm about to haul I have already read because I literally bought them and then read them. So we have Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. Obviously I bought this immediately when it came out. We're following Kenna, who is a mother who no longer has her daughter. She's been in jail because of an unfortunate accident for 5 years, and so when she gets out she wants to reconnect with her daughter, and that's the whole thing. And yeah, I've already read this. I'll talk about my feelings on it. It is one of my new favorite books, but I'll talk about that in my February wrap-up. Then, when I bought Love in Other Words 2 days ago, I also picked up All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. I have also already read this. This is also a dual timeline in which we have a marriage that is struggling, and so the then is them falling in love and how they ended up together and why they love each other, and then the now is kind of like all the struggles that they're going through, and there's some pretty bad ones, but the dual timelines kind of like converge into this one singular moment that they kind of come back to, and so yes, I've already read it. I'll talk about it in my February wrap up. Then we have Weather Girl, which is also, it was an anticipated read for me this year, and I saw it on the new to paperback table, and I was like, oh my gosh, it already came out, and I got it. So this follows Ari Abrams, who's a weather girl. Her bosses were married and now they're divorced, and they're creating like terrible environment in their news station, and so she teams up with a sports reporter, Russell, to try to like parent trap their bosses into getting back together because they seem happy together, and in the process they get feelings. I've already read this. I actually read this in January, so I don't have a review or wrap up or anything for it, but I did really enjoy this, but I don't really want to go into detail here now. Weather Girl is by Rachel Lynn Solomon, because I forgot to say that. The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas. Basically, she needs a date to her sister's wedding because her ex-boyfriend who she was in love with is now engaged, and he's going to be there, and it is got enemies to lovers. It's her workplace enemy. He is going to, they're going to start fake dating, and he's going to go with her to Spain for this wedding, and yeah, I've already read this. I don't want to talk about it though, so yeah. And then there's a couple other books I wanted to include into this haul, but they are not here yet. I'm waiting for them to arrive today or tomorrow, and so I'm just going to put them on the screen because I'm going to have them in my hands the next day or two, and that is House of Sky and Breath. That is coming today, and I'm immediately reading it. I just read Crescent City. I finished it yesterday. I need the book immediately, so I'm literally going to be sitting after this by my front door until it arrives. And then we have Heart Bones by Colleen Hoover. I eye this a lot in Barnes & Noble, and it hadn't been there the last couple times I was there when I said like I was going in there to buy it. And then my friend, who actually has never read Colleen Hoover before, it was her first Colleen Hoover book, she picked it up and she really enjoyed it, and so I had to do it, and so I will be reading that probably soon. I will drop anything for a Colleen Hoover book. And then the last thing that I ordered from Amazon is 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. I've seen so many people say that this broke their heart, and I've seen a lot of people on Book talk about it, and so I want to pick it up and I want to read it because I've been into romance. I have no idea anything about what it is about, but yeah. So these are the books that I have already bought in January and February. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.